Well, ex-player turned agent, Ryan Barnes. And not just any agent. I think this guy's got himself a great future. Already making some headway in that industry. But that personality, the ex-player thing, sky's the limit, I think, Ryan Barnes, as it relates to the world of sports agency. And good to see you. Let's talk a little bit about that before we reflect back on your career here in Grand Rapids. Cortex Management out of Toronto is who you're employed by now.
Yes, yeah, Bob. Thanks. First of all, thanks for having me in the celebration with the Griffins 25 years. It's a very proud time in my life being a Grand Rapids Griffin, and and obviously get into Grand Rapids quite often to see some of our up and coming prospects there. So I really enjoyed my time in GR and always enjoyed heading back there to catch a game.
Well, among some of the clients that you have at Cortex, Patrice Bergeron, Mitch Marner, Max Domi, Chris Letang, it says redefining athletes management. What exactly does that look like in the future? Redefining the management of athletes.
Yeah, it's a great company. Obviously led by Darren Ferris and Kent Hughes, and obviously our investor Lino Saputo and the Saputo family has really put meaning behind redefining athlete management and really giving all the resources to all of our players and up and coming prospects, basically anything that they need to be the absolute best that they can for their careers and again doing it in a family oriented client-centric focused business. It's like I said, we're very proud to be a part of our management team, and again, I think our players are in great hands with many different skill sets of our employees across the company.
And you look at that list, Ryan, you and I were talking earlier, I'm guessing that you're kind of the go-to guy when it comes to certain conversations that need to happen with players that, an ex-player would be best at. And I'm sure they're calling you in for some of that, those types of conversation. Explain kind of your role now. My understanding is that you deal with most of these guys. Taylor Hall's another client of the firm.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, I have the ex-player benefactor going for me, and guys can reach out if they are in a certain situation with coaches, or how to deal with certain situations with obviously we're talking American Hockey League here, maybe getting how to get noticed a little bit more to get that call up to the National Hockey League. And I mean, we're highly involved every single day with our guys, the conversations that need to be had. But that's certainly something that being an ex-Red Wing, ex-Griffin, guys can will bring me in, or obviously guys can lean on me for the different experiences that I've went through.
Yeah, second round draft pick of the Red Wings, and you've maintained that relationship. Certainly having enjoyed your time here, a couple of games with Detroit, and that connection is still very much there, Ryan. We're seeing that, some of the fruits of that labor coming out here lately with your firm signing the likes of Philip Zadina, Joe Veleno, Chase Pearson's a client of yours, and I'm guessing that Ryan Barnes has had a lot to do with securing those guys.
Yeah, no, they're all exciting young prospects. Obviously, with Philip, it's about a 5 or 6 year relationship now. Just a little bit, bringing him over to Toronto when he was a young prospect, and help recruiting Philip, and some trips to Prague in there, and meeting with the Zadina family, and with Michael Lemberg, our Czech associate that works there. And obviously lots of Google Translate with Philip's Philip's dad and his mom and his dad, but they're working on their English, and so it's getting better and better each time I see them. And
you're not multilingual yet?
Working on it.
It's funny. You and I were chatting about. There's very few movies that relate to sports agents. The one though that is just about one of my favorite movies of all time, Jerry Maguire. I love that one at the beginning of that movie where they've got the picture with I think you see his right hand reaching and shaking the player's hand. You kind of had that moment, although a lot more visible, with Mitch Marner when he got drafted, Ryan Barnes. And we've got the video that you were kind enough to send me. That was a nice moment in the sun for Ryan Barnes. I couldn't tell who was happier, Mitch Marner getting drafted in the first round or Ryan Barnes representing him.
Absolutely. And those, like I said earlier when we were talking before we got started, I mean, that's what is a passion for me, being involved as a sports agent, player agent, that we get to share these lifelong memories and goals of families and players. And obviously being drafted is, an initial step to having an NHL career. So those are great moments. Obviously the draft is, for me is a very special time to share with the families. And again, that Mitch's was definitely a special moment, being drafted by his hometown team, and and just doing so well with the Leafs, and hopefully he can be a big part of that team. One day reclaiming the Stanley Cup after it's been so long. So they're getting closer, but obviously that's Mitch's next goal is to help bring the cup back to Toronto.
Well, needless to say, speaking of cups, you got a chance back in let's reflect back on your career, Ryan, and, obviously a good one in the OHL, some nice numbers there. Obviously you were known as a real tough guy. That never went away. But you also had a lot of skill. I mean, scored some goals. In fact, Memorial Cup with Barrie in the OHL, you had 14 points and 25 games played in the Memorial Cup championship game. That sets you up, of course, before that is when you got drafted. But, you had a really nice career in the Ontario Junior Hockey. Can you talk a little bit about that and then the excitement of getting drafted in the second round?
Yeah, it was obviously had a great junior career. Being drafted, I was after my rookie season in Sudbury to the Red Wings was a dream come true. Actually wasn't, and again, my experience is still relative, wasn't a highly touted, ranked in the first or second round. I think I was ranked around the fifth round. So I didn't actually even attend the draft. I was just golfing with my buddy and got a call and say, hey, you should,
we're going to talk golf here in just a little bit, by the way.
We just got picked by the Red Wings. And actually my buddy, we were been best friends since kindergarten. We were golfing together that day. And my very first game, this is a pretty cool story. My very first game, I was called up to play against the Florida Panthers, and Nathan Horton, who's 5 years younger than me, was a first round pick from my hometown of Dunnville. So there's a bunch of people that made the 4-hour trip down to Detroit to watch Horton play in Detroit. And so happened that I got called up for the Wings that night, and he was in the building to see me my first NHL game. So I was with my friend Sky during getting drafted, and he was also there for the very first game as well. So.
Yeah, you want to spending quite a bit of time with Detroit. Didn't play a ton of games, but up and down between here and Grand Rapids, and I was asking you earlier, and I remember talking about this back in the day when you were playing here, 3 full seasons with Grand Rapids. But your pro career got off to a bit of a tough start, Ryan, it happened right here in this building during the good old days of the red-white game, right? The Red Wings playing the red-white game, and you were a part of that and got knocked out. I mean, it was not pretty and knocked out cold. And that concussion kept you out almost that entire first season, which was obviously not the way you wanted to start your pro hockey career.
Oh, definitely, it was a tough injury to deal with, and it was. It's important development time for young players, and it was definitely not. Injuries are part of it, but definitely not a great start to the pro career. And then, even some injuries my second year with some groin issues and things like that in Cincinnati, and then really. Again, that's why Grand Rapids, when I started playing with the Griffins in my third year pro, was really when I was able to get my game going and playing well at an American League level to give myself a chance to get called up by the Red Wings. And at the time, we're a pretty good team in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, no kidding. You got to play with some pretty good ones, Datsuk, Shanahan, Hall, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the other thing about your pro hockey start was kind of a goofy, setup with the Red Wings back in the day when they didn't have a direct affiliate. And it was Cincinnati where you began your pro career, where they were sharing that affiliation with Anaheim. And that had to create some issues in the dressing room. You played Mike Babcock was the coach there for the couple of seasons you were in Cincinnati. But it was still kind of I'm guessing kind of an awkward situation when it came to, who plays and when.
It was a little different looking back at it. I was, a young 20-year-old kid that probably, didn't really think about it as much as probably other guys would at the time. And there's so much to learn as a young player in that league. And even though going into it, you get the advice how good the American League is. So yeah, I mean that there's just so much you're really taking in that first year, and obviously Mike Babcock that was his start in pro hockey as well. But again, he was as advertised. He was organized. He was a driver. He wanted to win, and he definitely set the tone for those teams back then.
Well, we certainly don't want the rocky start with the injuries and the split affiliation in Cincinnati to overshadow what turned out to be a very good career for you, especially the 3 years you played here. Great contributor, played on some really good teams, that 02-03 team, which we had a chance to visit with Stacey Roos not long ago. Daryl Bootlin was a teammate. I mean, you look back and there were some fun times here, huh?
Yeah, I mean that was the most memorable that playoff run that we had. Game 7 at home, obviously losing to Houston, but I mean there's just some great series that and just that's what you'll always remember. Being in those trenches, battling with your teammates through those series when in Wilkes-Barre, the Chicago Wolves series. Those were a lot of fun, and again, just kind of enjoying each win along the way, and that was some of the most memorable times that I would have had as a player in Grand Rapids for sure.
Yeah, you were such a tough guy. I mean, between you and Daryl Bootlin, I don't know if you guys ever. I don't know if I ever asked you if you ever scrapped him in junior. My guess is somewhere on the way you probably did. If not, who wins that fight?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't think we actually got traded for each other in junior. When he was in Barrie, and then Barrie, he was like a young first rounder, up and coming prospect, and
yeah.
I was an older guy in the league, and we got traded for each other as well. So, but yeah, no, Booter's one of the best teammates that I ever played with, and great guy. And I mean his story is unbelievable. How much he loved the game, and kind of kept going after his time in the show, and then spent what was it? Had to be like 8 to 10 years in the coast, showing some other guys the ropes. So what a beauty Booter
is. Well, either you didn't hear the question or you're avoiding it. Who wins a fight if you guys do drop the gloves?
I think I do, but.
Well, how's the family, Ryan? Obviously you met a girl from here, Jen. Obviously great gal, Andy Rent, your father-in-law. By the way, let's get right to the golf story. He was telling me that you can hit a ball further to the right than any human beings that he's ever seen. You're a left-handed golfer. He says, I've never seen a human being hit the ball that far to the right. He said, but you've worked at it and you've improved yourself to a point where you're a pretty darn good golfer now.
Depending on who you talk to, but and what day it is. But it's fun to get out there with Andy and spend time. Obviously, it's always fun to get back to Grand Rapids. Played with Nelly and Rammer when we get back to Grand Rapids. As well, or try to at least once a summer. So it's I love getting out there. During this quarantine period, I had Daryl Descranes get down, Mizuno rep, but just he's a frequent fan and in the Red Wings locker room and the Griffins locker room and a golf pro, and so try to groove it in a little bit with Daryl, but still a long way to go.
Well, the funny story Andy told me was about when you met Jen. Apparently, she was dating somebody else well before she met you, and vowed it. I guess the topic of hockey players came up. She vowed she would never date a hockey player. Well, then lo and behold, she announces to her mom and dad that you got to come and meet my new boyfriend. And so sure enough, they come to a game, walk into the arena, Van Andel Arena, and no sooner had they gotten to the seats and Ryan Barnes, their future son-in-law, is in a scrap. Imagine that.
Yeah, and I think we had just got back from a Western road trip swing and met them after the game, and my nose was all over the place and too black eyed. So I probably made quite the first impression, but
well, I can tell you that Andy, according to Andy, he couldn't ask for a better son-in-law. He's so proud of you as a husband and a father. He pointed out to me, and as a father to 2 boys, Bennett and Blake, both playing some hockey, both playing high level hockey these days.
Yeah, Benny's was drafted by the Lumberjacks and got into a game last year with them, and yeah, so he's aspiring to make that team, and trying to pursue a scholarship, and then Blake's 14 years old playing for Honey Baked, and I'm coaching that team right now, and I think nearing my career in coaching youth hockey is coming to an end after this season. So enjoying all the time and spending my extra time right now without NHL games or American League games, anything going on right now. So spending time enjoying that. But yeah, loved my time coaching Benny with those teams that we've had as well, and a lot of those guys that he played with, I think you'll see their names called fairly early for the 2021 NHL draft. Some kids from Michigan, and yeah, so it's it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun coaching.
How proud would you be to see one or both of your boys name announced at a National Hockey League draft? Would that be something?
It's such an honor in any round to be picked in the NHL. It's tough. I would be so proud. But that's an awfully hard thing to achieve, and but obviously any time your name's associated with an NHL franchise, that would be a dream come true for them. I know that they love the game as much as I did and still do. So yeah, I'm sure they're shooting for that as much as they can right now as well.
We wish you and all them the best of luck too, Barney. And with the weather, I'm sure you've been golfing a lot. And you probably got the Weber grill out too. I understand you got a brand new Weber grill here recently.
Yeah,
really into the cooking.
Yeah, we've had some real good eats together as a family, spending time together. So we've been spending our time trying different things and sampling the different smoker recipes and everything too. So that's something to pass the time during this time together. So yeah, golf, and like I said, obviously it's great to have the NHL bubble back for playoffs, to get some playoff hockey, and that was a terrific tournament to watch. So, and hopefully soon we'll have the NHL and the American League back.
And hopefully we'll get another alumni game here in Grand Rapids so that we can see Ryan Barnes in a uniform again, which, of course, you were here for the 20th anniversary. Wasn't that fun? It was so great to see you and so many of the guys that came back, and certainly, 25th anniversary season we hope is going to happen. Love to see you again and see many of the names of the past, and your name included in there, Ryan. Just so many great memories, so many terrific people, yourself included, and boy, we just hope that we can do that again.
Yeah, I'm there. If it happens, I'm there, Bob. So count me in.
All right, Ryan, all the best. Thanks for doing this. So good to see you. Say hi to Jen and the boys. And,
I will.
Yeah, we'll see you again soon.